الله بالخير يا جماعة الخير. الإنسان ذلك المخلوق العجيب، الجسد، العقل والروح. في الجسد نعرف شلون ندير بالنا عليه، العقل نعرف شلون ننميه، الروح نقدر من خلالها يكون هو البوصلة اللي يقود حياتنا كلها. شلون يا أبو نبيل الروح هو البوصلة اللي يقود حياتنا؟ إذا كنت متصل مع الله اتصال مباشر راح تقدر تشعر بقراراتك وبحياتك. اليوم عندي ضيف جميل، السيد تشارلي هوك، زايرنا من أستراليا. راح نتعرف عليه وراح نعرف شلون السيد تشارلي يقدر يساعدنا نعيش في سلام داخلي أكثر، وشلون كمبادرين نقدر أن احنا نكون قادة، بس قادة بحب. And how to lead with love. Mr. Charlie, if you can tell us a little bit about yourself so we get to know you all.
Yeah, hi Badr, it's lovely to be here.
Thank you.
I actually live in Sydney, and for over 40 years I've been offering people to the idea that if you want a successful life, whether it's in your family or in your business, I need to have a successful internal life. I need to learn more about my thoughts and my feelings and my responses, etc. So that I can, when I have a strong self-mastery, it actually enables me to have a better quality of life, whatever I do in the world.
And the question is how to develop self-mastery.
I think today our whole focus is external. And self-mastery is really beginning to learn more about who I am. And I would say a part of that is learning how to create a sense of self-respect. And that when there's a sense of self-respect, it's the foundation of a positive life and internal strength.
And how do I know whether I'm respecting myself or not? And how can I develop self-respect to make it from internal to external?
Yeah. I would say sensitivity shows that I don't have much self-respect. How important it is to really try and take my self-respect back, because it builds a resilience which you need in the world today. As you know, in business or entrepreneurship, you need a strength and inner resilience.
We call it emotional fitness.
That's exactly right.
Like the body fitness, you need to be emotionally fit to handle rejection, to handle declination, to handle resignation, to handle all life or business circumstances that will definitely, inevitably face you.
Absolutely. And I really find the successful people, I would say self-respect is the foundation, the platform to build that emotional fitness.
How can I develop self-mastery or self-respect?
You know, I would say the first step is to really know who I am. Because I think when I don't know who I am, I'm ruled by my ego and my lack of self-respect. And knowing who I am is going much deeper than my name, you know, my nationality and all these sorts of things. It's going deeper into the core of my fundamental self. But if I know who I am, I'm a soul, and I meet you as a soul, then there's a sense of connectedness, a sense of brotherhood.
A sense of oneness.
An absolute sense of oneness. And the soul is an extraordinary thing, you know. The soul sits in the front of the brain, in the center of the forehead. The soul is the consciousness. And when I'm aware of who I am, there's like a natural peace in my mind.
I lived all my life believing that I am who I am. I am the name, I am the achievements, I am the personalities, I am the opinions. How does it start?
It starts with self-awareness, but the way you go deeper is to develop a meditation or reflective practice, because the way we live our lives today, my mind is always extrovert. I'm out there. But actually for a human being to function well, I need to be internal. I need to sort of experience more who I am internally. And so meditation connects me with my fundamental self. Because when I forget who I am and I only think on the labels, it gives birth to those two children, ego and lack of self-respect. And they constantly deceive me, whether it's in my relationship with myself, whether it's with my family, or whether it's with my clients in my business world.
And how can I live as a soul?
There's three ways I can do it. I can do it like a hobby, you know, where sometimes we just occasionally relax and reflect and meditate. I can do it as a discipline. And I find when you meditate as a discipline, when you meditate, you feel calmer. But as soon as you finish, your mind reverts to its old story and its old thinking. When it's a lifestyle, and I would say today, to survive in the business world, unless I nurture a sense of calm and peace and well-being, occasionally I will feel exhausted or really deeply affected by everything. So when I create a lifestyle, it's like an attitude to life. I carry my fundamental principle is that peace is my natural state, and I want to take it into my relationships in the business world. And I find that when someone, it's actually a good business decision as well.
If I want to do it as a lifestyle,
Yeah.
how can I? And what's the lifestyle you're talking about?
Sometimes I think my mind is like soil or earth. And so when you wake up in the morning and your awareness is peaceful, it's like out of that soil grow your thoughts throughout the day. When you do the work in the morning, it sort of sustains your thoughts. And I also have a practice called traffic control. I stop every hour for a minute to control the traffic of thinking. Because I'm sure you know how sometimes something upsets you and it gets in your head. We come back to our centered. In that 1 minute, we try to recenter. And I'm constantly attentive to my own thinking because I know my thoughts are the seed of all my relationships and my actions. The more you create quality thoughts, the more you're going to have a quality outcome, even in your business as well.
So every every hour, you take a minute, traffic control. What do you do?
I stop, and your mind is out there. I withdraw, and I consciously create thoughts of who am I, that I am a soul.
That you are a soul.
Yeah. And it's almost like you center back into your seed of peace. You go back into a state of peace. And then you observe yourself. Am I living according to my truth? Am I comfortable with the way I'm behaving? Because you're observing and learning about your inner world as you conduct your daily affairs.
Some people might think meditation is against religion. When we mention the word meditation to Muslims, they شوية glitch and think you're taking me away. I have prayers. It's my meditation. So I know you might not be Muslim, but I'm sure you are aware of the difference between prayer and meditation. If you can explain a little bit, elaborate on this point.
Buddy, I would really say in this context that meditation is almost thinking well. Your whole life happens in your mind. Your whole life meets in your mind. Your thoughts, your feelings, your relationships, your memories. If that is not a healthy space, if the sacred space of your mind is not healthy, what happens to the rest of your life? It's unhealthy. And so meditation, in a way, is thinking well on the basis of knowing who I am. And so really anyone of any religion or non-religion. I mean, I love Islam too, and I know so many of my friends, they meditate. So it doesn't compromise religion at all. It's like it's a decision for well-being. I would say, I have a friend in Australia who's the head of the health department. The big issue today is mental and emotional health all over the planet. It's declining.
It's also a reflection of the body health as well. There is a huge correlation between the mental health and the physical health.
There is a huge correlation,
Cortisol levels and serotonin drops and all of this stress and heart diseases comes from mental and depression and sadness and anxiety and all of that.
Absolutely true. And the research recently into heart attacks is fear. Like if someone ran in this room and said there's a fire in your studio, the first thing that happens, boom, 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 boom. If each day you go to the work and you're afraid of an outcome, you're afraid of a personality, you're afraid of failure, it's putting pressure on your heart constantly. And the heart's just a little pump, it's going to break down. So investment in your well-being is also investment.
التأمل والدين, meditation and prayer, الصلاة والتأمل, هل هم يتعارضون؟ أنا بفضل الله قدرت أني أخشع في صلاتي أكثر، وفهمت معنى الخشوع اللي ديننا يحاكينا عنه عن طريق تطبيق التأمل والمديتيشن. وعليه الصلاة والسلام وين جات الرسالة إذا نتذكر في غار حراء، وشنو كان قاعد يسوي في غار حراء. فمن الجميل جدا نربط بين التأمل وبين هذا. واحنا صغار كنا نسمع اخشع في صلاتك اخشع في صلاتك، لكن شو يعني اخشع في صلاتي؟ يعني لازم ما تفكر بولا شيء غير الصلاة. زين شلون اتحكم بمخي وانا في ماي برينز هذا مخي عنده 1000 فكرة وفكرة؟ التأمل هو يعلمك شلون تركز على شيء واحد فقط، فتدرب مخك على التركيز، بعدين تاخذ هذا لصلاتك وتقدر انك تركز في صلاتك. ابو نبيل ما تعودنا عليك تكلمنا بالروحانيات، يعني وريوست وتكلمنا اكثر على مواضيع البزنس. مو يا جماعه عشان تكون رجل اعمال ناجح، عشان تكون مبادر مجتهد، عشان تكون مصور محترف، عشان تكون مخرج محترف، عشان تكون اي شيء تبي تكونه، انا قاعد اعطي مثال على الشباب دار مداري، عشان تكون اي شيء تبي تكونه، انجح شيء تبي تكونه، لازم تكون صافي الذهن، لازم تكون مرتاح، لازم تداوم بحب وبخوف. وانت as life we are either controlled by fear or controlled by love. صح، we do things، ناخذ قراراتنا في الحياة أننا خايفين إن ما نكون enough، ما نكون في النجاح اللي ودنا نكونه، يا بحب. فإحنا نقول كيف تجد شغفك، technically كيف تجد حبك. بس شارلي let's go to love. Leading with love.
Yeah.
How can I lead with love? And what does leading with love mean? And what's the opposite between leading with love and leading with fear?
You know, I'd say there's two prime emotions in life, love and fear. And some say that love is letting go of fear. And I would say that when I'm, leading with love, it's like I hold the value of those I'm leading in my attitude. Because to me, there's awareness in your mind, and your attitude propels your consciousness into the atmosphere. So awareness, attitude, atmosphere. People feel your inner mind. And when a leader...
So people feel your inner mind. Even your thoughts, people can feel them.
Yeah. I'm sure when you meet anybody, do you get a feeling from them? Instantly you get a feeling. It's almost like the quality of their thoughts creates an aura around them. And that's where, we sort of, even in business, if your thoughts are negative, people won't feel comfortable with you. They're probably less easy about doing business. But if your thoughts are positive or quality thoughts, people feel comfortable, they feel safe with you. And especially when you're leading other people, when you know their value, you know their good qualities, the most powerful leaders are the ones who really bring up people around them. They hold their value in their attitude, and that's really what love is. Fear is, as I was saying, is based on ego and lack of self-respect. And we fear all sorts of things, and so fear is a very destructive thing in an office, yeah.
Let's say I realize that I'm leading with fear. How do I change it?
When I have self-respect, the expression of that is humility. And I would say, when you meet a leader who's humble, that's incredibly powerful. It's inspirational because they are a great person, but they remain really humble, and that inspires people. Really, and I find people don't respect people with a lot of ego. They might to their face, but behind their back, they don't really value someone who has a lot of arrogance. The most powerful leaders are the ones who do it from a place of self-respect and humility. Yeah. And, when you have self-respect too, I would say you're loving and people will love you too. And then people want to come to the office because they feel valued, they feel loved, and they feel respected. I once saw some research in an office, and the research said, what's the motivating factor for being here? Is it money or is it being valued and needed? And most said to be valued and needed. Sometimes we think it's money is the motivation, but human nature needs to be valued. And really, I've seen the leaders that create the atmosphere in their organizations are the ones who really... Leadership is about love. Management is about systems and organization, all that. But leadership is about love and respect. Holding people.
Bravo. Excellent. And if this message by itself reaches the beautiful audience that will be watching this video, I'm really happy. So if there is one message you want to send to everyone who watches this video, it would be?
I would say that to give time to yourself to learn about how you function internally. That means to understand more about your mind. And you know, science says the mind creates around 70,000 unique thought patterns in a waking day. Don't ask me how they counted them, please, but
Say it again.
Science says that, research says that you create around 70,000 unique thought patterns in a waking day. Now imagine
70,000 thoughts. 70,000 فكرة باليوم.
Imagine if you were running business and you were producing 70,000 products and 60,000 are defective. What happens to your business? You go broke. But often a lot of our thoughts are defective. They're self-doubt, they're anger, they're all these sorts of thoughts. And these mean that my productivity as a person is really low. And so when you begin to learn about how to create thoughts, and the greatest influence on your thinking is your self-value. And last night I was just giving a little bit of an example that your inner world's like a tree. You have a seed, trunk, branches, leaves. Your leaves are the thoughts, millions of thoughts. And people try to change their thoughts, but they can't do it. Because you've got to go to the roots and the seed. What's feeding your thinking?
So what's the root?
Your sense of self. Your sense of self. And when you're under the influence, you're leading with ego. That's the leadership, which is controlling, forceful, dominating. That does not work. The whole world is rejecting that leadership today. We can see, whether it's in the family or whether it's in the workplace, they're rejecting that. Or leadership based on lack of self-respect. And what that is you need the position to feel good about yourself. So your low self-esteem means I want a title on my business card. And so all those sorts of things, I'm getting my sense of self from transitory and changeable things. But leadership based on...
What if you lose that title? What's going to happen?
Well, that's what...
Your world will crumble.
Your world absolutely is shattered because you've attached your heart to this, in a sense, this changeable position or title. And it's the same with possessions. That's how we live today. We define myself from what's external. And the more you attach your heart to anything temporary, all those things you just described, you build fear into your life. You fear losing your position. And so fear is based on attaching myself to these temporary things outside. And when you were just saying that, I met a guy in London once who he was living in Uganda when Idi Amin was there. And overnight, Idi Amin marched him.
Self-respect and then love. So when you love everything around you, how do you not get attached?
Yeah, I think that...
And that's the trick. How do you stay loving and love everyone and love the whole team and love your position and love your financial situation and love your body, but don't get attached to any of them?
That's the wisdom of life. I often give the example that life is like a train. You're in the train, you stop at a station, people hop on, people hop off. You go to the next station, people hop on, people hop off. Eventually you hop off the train. That's life. Life means wealth comes into your life, wealth goes out. People come in, people go out. Recognition comes and goes. But when you hold on to it, you lose truth. You're being deceived. Enjoy it, love it, engage it. But as soon as you attach your heart, you will be deceived and you will start to feel angry when these things change to the border. And he had a business worth $6 million. And that was a long time ago, big business. He walked over the border with a few dollars in his pocket. He was shattered. And he went and he was living in London, just shattered. And so someone took him to learn about himself. And he said, I had to lose $6 million to learn about who I was. Sometimes, life means that...
So you either do it calmly with love, or it will happen to you and forcefully with pain.
That's right. And when you are more aware of who you are, even though life changes, your position changes, your wealth changes, the country economy changes, all these things change, I know who I am, so I can remain relatively stable. They don't knock around, they don't throw me around all the time, that this changes and I'm knocked around, and this changes and I'm knocked around. And that's when you feel exhausted.
If you want to end this beautiful conversation with last message, what do you want your last message to be to the whole world, to everyone who's watching this video?
Thanks, Badia. I would say that our world is changing so fast at the moment. There's so much going on in our world. How do I cope with all this change? Which actually the definition of stress is an inability to deal with all the change. Where I can deal with it is to learn about my inner world, invest in my inner world. And if I learn about me, I can remain stable as things keep changing around me. I think it's never been more important to invest in quality thoughts, quality emotions, and this is probably the most powerful investment in my happiness, in my family's happiness, and a successful business.
Beautiful. Thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Lovely.
Thank you حبيبي. Thank you. Excellent. تلك هي الحياة يا أصدقاء. هذه هي الحقيقة. الحقيقة عميقة وجميلة، بس من نستوعبها كل شيء في الحياة يصير له معنى أكبر، له منطق أجمل، يصير يسوى أكثر. الحياة زائلة وإحنا في رحلة لا نتعلق فيها، خلينا نحبها، خلينا نشتغل بكل حب، نشتغل بكل شغف من غير تعلق. وإذا قدرنا نصيد لحقنا، إحنا نقول بالكويتي، إذا قدرنا نحب الحياة ونحب الشغل من غير التعلق، أعتقد فزنا بالحكمة. والله سبحانه وتعالى يقول إن الحكمة شيء جميل ومن أعلى مراتب الإنسان. نشوفكم بالفيديوهات القادمة، وذكرونا في التعليقات تحت شنو أحلى معلومة أثرت فيكم. نشوفكم.